Have you ever pondered whether a mother's pain is confined solely to humans, or if a voiceless creature, too, can fight for its child? Picture this: a dog driven by grief arrives at a police station, demanding justice for her lost pup, only to be met with dismissive laughter. This is the tale of an extraordinary case, where the battle for justice begins with a dog and is championed by an aging lawyer, who makes it his life's mission. This story speaks to the rights of animals and the pursuit of justice in a courtroom, where an ordinary dog challenges the powerful. It unfolds in a small town, where life hums along with the rhythm of the everyday. At its heart is advocate Dharmraj, once a celebrated lawyer, now retired and living quietly. By his side is Gundama, a stout, humorous woman who affectionately calls him Guruji and tends to his needs. Dharmraj practices yoga daily, while Gundama tries, often comically, to follow his instructions. Nearby, the police station bustles with officers handling routine cases. On the other side of town live the wealthy, like Shikhar Raja, a meat export tycoon, and his reckless son, Ranjit Raja. These lives converge because of a dog. Grieving the death of her pup, named Jhansi, she becomes the axis around which this story spins. Dharmraj takes her on as his client, leading her to the courtroom. Parth Sarthi, a retired Chief Justice, recalls this case as the most unforgettable of his career. The story begins on a television program, where a host interviews prominent figures. Today's guest is Parth Sarthi, the former Chief Justice. The host asks, "Of all your years on the bench, which case stands out most?" Parth smiles and replies, "The case of advocate Dharmraj." The host, intrigued, asks, "Who is Dharmraj?" Parth explains that he was once a renowned lawyer who hadn't taken a case in a decade, until the pain of a destitute mother drew him back to the courtroom. The host, puzzled, says, "I don't follow. Tell me more." Parth's eyes gleam as he begins the story. "It was a heart-wrenching scene," Parth recounts, "but no one helped her because she wasn't rich or powerful." The host interjects, "Was she wealthy? A politician?" Parth shakes his head. "No, she was a mother dog." The host gasps, "You said mother's pain, so I assumed a human mother." Parth replies, "Pain is the same, human or animal. No one cares when an animal dies. But if it were a human's child, your heart would stop." The host apologizes and Parth continues, "Dharmraj understood her pain." The scene shifts to a small police station, where a dog bursts in, barking fiercely, drawing every eye. An officer snaps, "What's this? Why's this dog here?" The dog, frantic, paces and barks, as if pleading her case. Her mate killed, her daughter taken, her life shattered. But she is voiceless and the officers cannot understand. A female officer tries to shoo her out. The dog resists, her barks laced with anguish, as if crying, "Why won't anyone hear me?" The officers call her mad and push her out. Outside, she collapses, her grief spilling over in mournful howls. We turn to Dharmraj's life. He's in his modest home, practicing yoga. Gundama, ever loyal, is by his side. "Guruji, your exercise is done," she says. Dharmraj replies, "Good. Now you sit and do your breathing." Gundama grumbles, "I can't, my legs will hurt." He insists, and she reluctantly complies, only to doze off snoring loudly. Dharmraj chuckles, waking her. "You're doing the snoring asana." Gundama laughs, apologizing. He sends her to fetch milk. On her way, she buys bananas and spars with a shopkeeper, who calls her an elephant's child. Furious, Gundama slaps him. At the police station, she encounters a councilwoman and her son, who accuses Gundama of assault. The inspector questions her, and Gundama retorts that the boy taunted her. When he does it again, she slaps him once more. The inspector laughs. "You're a counselor, do some good." Dharmraj arrives at the station, recognizing Gundama. "She lives with me," he says. The inspector is taken aback. Dharmraj adds, "She's a brave girl." He takes her home, craving biryani. The inspector, curious, says, "You're a famous lawyer, but you don't take cases anymore. Why?" Dharmraj smiles. "I'll fight for the good ones." At home, Gundama teases him about yoga. He replies, "Every morning I close my eyes and pray for you." Gundama, confused, buys chocolates and biscuits. She offers one to a dog lingering outside their home, but it refuses to eat. Gundama remarks, "This dog's been troubling us for days." Dharmraj notices the dog's distress and senses something deeper. He calls the inspector saying, "This dog's been following us." He kneels before her, speaking softly. The dog, as if understanding, leads him to a spot marked by bloodstains. They dig and uncover a puppy's body. Gundama gasps, "This is her pup. Someone killed and buried it." Dharmraj's face hardens. This is a heinous act. "I'll find the culprit." He mutters, "People don't care about human deaths, let alone a voiceless creature." At home, the dog's pain haunts him. Gundama says, "You're still thinking about her." Dharmraj replies, "We were wrong to leave her." He returns to the dog, vowing, "I'll take your case. Your tears will find justice." He names the dog Jhansi and asks, "Who did this?" He knows they cannot proceed without identifying the culprit. The next day, Jhansi bolts after a car. Dharmraj, quick to understand, realizes this must be the vehicle that killed her pup. He chases after it. The car stops at a mansion, and Dharmraj notes its number. Turning to Jhansi, he asks, "Is this the one?" Jhansi barks fiercely as if saying, "Yes, that's the monster." Dharmraj begins investigating the car's owner. He takes Jhansi to the police station, declaring, "I'm Advocate Dharmraj, and this is my client." The inspector laughs. "A dog?" Dharmraj retorts, "Someone ran over her pup. File a complaint." The inspector scoffs, "You're mad. A dog as a client?" Dharmraj, his voice sharp, says, "Police and lawyers are like husband and wife. Cooperate or we'll divorce." He threatens to sue if the inspector shirks his duty. Gundama chimes in, "My Guruji will tear your uniform to shreds." The inspector, skeptical, asks, "Who are you?" Gundama recites Dharmraj's record: a theft case in 2015, corruption in 2018, a woman's case in 2021. Stunned, the inspector asks, "How do you know?" Gundama beams, "This is Dharmraj, Supreme Court lawyer, 500 cases won, not one lost." The inspector, chastened, agrees to file an FIR against Ranjit Raja. Dharmraj warns, "Take him to court or you'll be standing there too." At Ranjit's home, drama unfolds. He feigns collapse. His parents, Shekhar Raja and his wife, wailing as if he's dying. Their lawyer arrives, explaining, "A dog filed a case. Ranjit ran over its pup." Shekhar, enraged, demands, "End this!" The lawyer cautions, "The Animal Rights Board is watching, be careful." Shekhar sneers, "If it were a lion's cub, I'd be proud, but a dog." He orders the lawyer to bury the matter. The trial begins. The judge, seeing Dharmraj, beams, "Back after 10 years." Dharmraj replies, "This is a unique case." He calls Jhansi, who stands in the witness box. The judge, stunned, says, "This is your client?" Dharmraj nods. The judge remarks, "This is unprecedented." Dharmraj argues, "Jhansi was with her pup when a car ran it over. The driver was Ranjit Raja." The defense objects, claiming it's a lie. Dharmraj provides details. A red car, license plate TN57 CX3579. The judge asks, "Why take this case?" Dharmraj recounts a historical tale of King Manunidhi Cholan, whose calf was crushed by a royal chariot, leading the king to sacrifice his own son for justice. "A mother is a mother," Dharmraj says. "Even animals deserve justice." The judge nods. This case will make history. The courtroom buzzes with debate, each argument twisting the case anew. The judge sets the next date, adjourning the session. Ranjit, smirking, taunts, "Can a dog win this case?" His voice drips with mockery, as if daring the entire judicial system. Dharmraj returns home, his heart heavy. Alone in his room, he wrestles with how to secure justice for Jhansi, the voiceless mother. Her sorrowful eyes haunt him, reflecting a mother's grief for her lost child. He resolves to find a way, a spark to illuminate the case. He contacts an old friend, a tech expert, working on a device that analyzes animal behavior and vocalizations to interpret their emotions. This isn't a magical tool that translates barks into words, but a scientific instrument that decodes a dog's vocal frequency, body language, and reactions to express emotions like fear or sorrow. Dharmraj pleads, "You're my only hope. We need something concrete to show Jhansi's pain." The expert agrees to record Jhansi's behavior and present her emotions in court. At the next hearing, Jhansi is fitted with a sensor device that captures her barks, movements, and intensity. Doesn't translate her voice but interprets her emotions scientifically. Ranjit's lawyer, smug and cunning, bombards Jhansi with questions. What color was the car? Dharmraj, reading the device's data, confirms Jhansi's reaction points to red, correct? What was the car's number? Jhansi's response, interpreted, matches the plate. Correct again. Where did this happen? Jhansi's behavior indicates familiarity with the location, which Dharmraj describes accurately. The lawyer sneers. Maybe this dog was trained. But he has one final question. Who drove the red car? Describe them. Jhansi falls silent, her eyes vacant. She hadn't seen the driver. The lawyer crows, see? This case is a sham. The courtroom holds its breath. Ranjit is questioned, but his answers are riddled with lies. He claims he was out of town, sometimes by car, sometimes by plane. His contradictions are glaring, but without a witness, the court cannot decide. The hearing is postponed. Dharmraj led Jhansi to the expert, a man renowned for his ability to decipher animal behavior. He was determined to unravel the mystery of Jhansi's uncanny perception. Her intelligence, her precision, these were far beyond the instincts of an ordinary dog. Was she truly just another stray? As Jhansi was fitted with the sensor device, Dharmraj posed the question that burned in his mind. How did you answer every question in court with such accuracy? The color of the car, the license plate, the exact location. How did you know all this? Through the device's analysis of her behaviors, her barks, her movements, the subtle shifts in her posture, Dharmraj began to piece together her extraordinary story. Jhansi was no ordinary dog. She was a trained police canine, a loyal servant of the law for years. Her handler, an upright police officer, had schooled her meticulously, teaching her to recognize colors, numbers, and places, to detect suspicious activities with a sharpness that rivaled any human detective. Together, they had hunted down drug traffickers, exposing their shadowy networks and dismantling their operations. But such bravery came at a steep cost. Their successes made them targets, amassing enemies not only among criminals, but also within the corrupt ranks of the police force, where fear of exposure festered. One fateful day, the mafia struck. They ambushed Jhansi and her handler, dragging them to a desolate jungle. There, they delivered a cruel ultimatum. Only one could live. Her handler, with a heart as steadfast as it was selfless, chose to save Jhansi, taking the bullet meant for her. Left alone, Jhansi wandered the streets, her spirit shattered, carrying the weight of her handler's sacrifice in her broken heart. Time trudged on, and in its passage, she became a mother. She gave birth to a single pup, a fragile beacon of hope in her darkened world. But tragedy struck again when just months later, that pup was taken from her in a senseless accident. Hearing Jhansi's story, Dharmraj and the expert were struck with awe and sorrow. They realized how often the world overlooks the silent suffering of creatures like her, unaware of the stories and pain they carry. Yet there was no time to dwell. The case demanded preparation. Jhansi's truth had to be brought to the courtroom. Her story steeled Dharmraj's resolve. He saw her not merely as a dog, but as a warrior, one who had fought countless battles in her life, and now stood ready to fight for justice once more. Dharmraj's anxiety mounts. He visits the site where Jhansi's pup was killed, scouring for clues. A young man approaches, saying he was filming with a drone that day. Maybe we caught something, he offers. They review the footage, and there it is, the red car striking Jhansi's pup. Dharmraj shouts, "Yes, we've done it." At the next hearing, he presents the video. The courtroom watches, transfixed as the tragedy unfolds on screen. But Ranjit's lawyer objects. This proves the car was Ranjit's, but not who drove it. The driver's face isn't visible. Hope dims once more. Dejected, Dharmraj walks the streets when an elderly blind man stops him. "I heard about your case on TV," he says, his voice steady with conviction. "Don't despair. God is with you. You fight for the voiceless. He won't leave you alone." Dharmraj listens intently. The man recounts that on the day of the incident, he was at a nearby cemetery, commemorating his late wife's death anniversary. "I was talking to her," he says, "when I heard a car speeding. Then a thud, like something was hit. A dog's anguished barks followed. I knew her pup had been crushed. I went there, found the body, and buried it near my wife's grave." He pauses. "I want to testify." Dharmraj's heart leaps, a new piece of evidence. Ranjit and his father, Shikhar Raja, were consumed by a rage that burned like a storm within them, churning and relentless. They were powerless to touch Jhansi, restrained by the vigilant eyes of animal rights organizations that tracked their every move. In the beginning, they had scoffed at the case, deeming it trivial. Who would care about a mere dog? But the tides had turned. The trial had become the heartbeat of the nation, its pulse echoing across the land. Social media thrummed with fervor. The hashtag, Justice for Jhansi, lighting up screens. As voices united in a chorus for justice, Jhansi's name was on every tongue, her cause etched in every heart that yearned to see her vindicated. This outpouring of public passion was unbearable for Ranjit and Shikhar, who saw madness in the world's devotion to a dog. Yet their eyes remained blind to the anguish of a voiceless mother, their hearts deaf to the cries of her grief. They resolved that the true threat was not Jhansi, but Dharmraj, the man who had given her a voice. In a voice as cold as steel, Shikhar declared, "He must be removed from our path." They devised a ruthless plan to silence him forever, orchestrating a staged accident to end his crusade. One evening, as Dharmraj stood by the roadside, lost in the weight of his thoughts, a car hurtled toward him with lethal intent, its speed a harbinger of death. But Jhansi, her instincts sharpened by years of training and her loyalty forged in sacrifice, sensed the danger from afar. With the swiftness of lightning, she leapt in front of the car, her fearless act forcing it to swerve violently. The vehicle careened into the footpath, its deadly mission thwarted by her courage. In that heart-stopping moment, Jhansi's devotion became a shield, saving the man who fought for her. The tale of her bravery spread like wildfire, igniting a deeper love and reverence for Jhansi in the hearts of the people. She was no longer merely a grieving mother. She was a gallant warrior, her selfless act captivating every soul. To the public, she became a symbol, a mother who had transformed her pain into unyielding strength. But for Ranjit and Shikhar, this incident was a spark that fanned the flames of their fury. They remained impervious to the sorrow of a voiceless creature, even as the world stood united with Jhansi, clamoring for her justice. At the next hearing, the blind man takes the stand, recounting the incident with haunting clarity. Before the Chief Justice can question him, Ranjit interrupts, mocking. Describe the driver's face. Laughter ripples through the courtroom, but the blind man is unfazed. In his mind, he hears the cruel laughter of the driver that day, saying, "One less dog." He points to Ranjit. "That's him. I know his voice. I can see him with the eyes of my mind." The court hands him paper and pencil to sketch his mental image. To everyone's astonishment, he draws Ranjit's face in minutes. The defense lawyer protests, but the blind man says, "God gave me this gift, I can draw faces from voices." He sketches the lawyer, then the Chief Justice. The courtroom is stunned as if witnessing a miracle. As the Chief Justice prepares to deliver the verdict, Jhansi begins to bark. The censor device captures her emotions, and Dharmraj interprets, "I'm not here for revenge. I want no one else to lose a loved one to a drunk driver." Every day, thousands die because people drive intoxicated, crushing humans and animals alike. Pain knows no species, yet the liquor trade thrives. I beg you, Honorable Chief Justice, find a way to stop this so no mother loses her child. The courtroom falls silent, moved by a creature's wisdom and restraint. The Chief Justice sentences Ranjit to 10 years for driving without a license, driving drunk and taking a life. He concludes, "I once believed humans have 6 senses and animals 1 less. Today, Jhansi proved animals may have 6, and we humans perhaps only 5. This verdict not only brought justice for Jhansi, but set a precedent. It's the story of a voiceless mother's fight, won through Dharmraj's courage and a blind man's truth. It teaches that justice knows no boundaries, and pain needs no language, only a heart to understand it."